I'm Kimberly Prather. After a big win Saturday, the ACU Wildcats are 2-0 heading into Lone Star Conference play tonight in Dallas.
And I'm Grant Boone. The Cats are in high cotton as they prepare to play for the first time on some of college football's most sacred sod. If you can spare a few minutes, we'll go bowling on the Chris Thompson Show next. Welcome to the Chris Thompson Show with Kimberly. I'm Grant here with the head football coach of the ACU Wildcats, Chris Thompson. Coach, a big week for your team this week. Tonight, your team plays in the Cotton Bowl. It's already been a season of first time ever to play a home game on national television. Now the first time that the program has ever played there at the Cotton Bowl. For a guy who loves the game of college football, appreciates its history as much as I know you do, I've got to believe that tonight is going to be a special one for you as you stand on those sidelines.
It will. For me and our coaches and our players, you know, just the tradition of college football, the tradition of the Cotton Bowl, all the great players, the great teams, the great games that have been played in that stadium. It'll be a thrill for us. And then, the Harvey Martin Classic, a game that honors Harvey Martin. Got to grow up watching the Cowboys, the Doomsday defense, Randy White, Too Tall Jones, Harvey Martin, just a great football player, and to get to compete in a game that honors him, it's just going to be a great night for our program.
As exciting as it will be to play in the Cotton Bowl, this game really is significant because it's the first conference game of the season. How do you think your team will fare after these first non-2 conference games?
Well, we've had two games to really get ready for conference and been able to come out 2-0. Fortunately, the first game playing a great opponent and fortunate to win that game. We didn't play well in all phases, but the second week, I think we made a step. I think we improved a lot against Fort Lewis, and that'll be put to the test tonight. Commerce is a great team, and we're looking forward to the challenge of playing them in the Cotton Bowl.
All right, before we talk about the Cotton Bowl tonight and the Lone Star Conference season opener, let's look back at last Saturday night's game, a 58-10 ACU victory over Fort Lewis College's Skyhawks at Shotwell Stadium. And Kimberly, we begin with a big play, Zach Stewart to Terrell Woodall. Coach, a big play to get on the board early.
Yeah, just play action pass, just trying to draw the defense in with the run fake. Terrell is a kid from Laney College in Northern California, a kid we picked up back in February, signed him, and Terrell's done a good job coming in and learning our offense and meshing with the other guys. He's a great kid, and looking forward to what he can do this season.
And on this next play, we have Justin Andrew, who is coming in for Emery Dukinsing, and he sets it up for a touchdown.
Yeah, Emery started all last year, but Justin was actually the only true freshman that played for us last year, and got some experience in some games last year, and really paid off. Emery getting hurt in training camp. Justin's been able to fill in nicely the first 2 games.
All right, now, Coach, we see this next pass, Zach to Edmund Gates. Until this pass, Edmund actually had only had 1 reception for 5 yards. Got to get him involved in the offense, I know. Yeah,
we were able to get Edmund going a little bit more this week than we did in week 1. This was a great catch, just a slant route backside. I think we were in a trips formation with 3 to the field and putting Edmund, trying to isolate him backside, and he made a great catch.
So Edmund Gates with a couple of catches there, and then it sets up Reggie Brown's maiden voyage into the ACU end zone.
Yeah, Reggie, had a good solid game against Northwest and walked in there untouched. Good blocking up front by the line, right behind Travis Turner and tight end Trey Simeon. And Reggie's got a real knack for finding those holes and found it on that play.
And it seems like your defense is just doing a lot this season, coming up with some big plays. In this next play, we have a sack.
Yeah, in fact, this is Derek Odelusi on the first play after that touchdown by Reggie Brown.
Yeah, Derek's the guy that was an outside linebacker last year and has actually changed positions at defensive end, and we're really expecting big things from Derek. He's a high-energy player. He's the highest energy player on our team. I mean, he brings it every snap.
And this guy's pretty high energy, too. We'd heard about Kendrick Johnson's speed all through training camp, and he showed it here on this 73-yard punt return.
Yeah, we've been really excited about the impact that he can make on special teams, and fortunately able to get him going in this game.
And in this game, we had Craig Harris back, and he came in big with that interception. How do you feel Harris is going to play in this next game?
Well, you know, this really gets Craig going. We were glad to get him some reps in this game. He's a little bit behind, not going through training camp. So I think getting him going, getting his confidence back in this game, I think it'll help us a lot against Commerce.
Well, this is a sight that we knew we would see, and we were glad to finally see it. His older brother Bernard hit pay dirt for ACU 73 times in his 2 seasons, and this is the first for Daryl Richardson. Baby Bernard, as some are calling it.
Yeah, Daryl really learning. I mean, he's the week before he was really cutting that thing back on the inside zone, was able to keep it front side right there and score and find a hole again. Good blocking up front, but expecting big things from Daryl.
And then finally, Aston Whiteside, as he seems to do in every game, making an impact, a big sack for a loss of 11 here.
Yeah, Daryl and Aston actually first cousins. They're Aston from Vernon and just continues to make big plays. Quarterback sacks and tackled for loss. We got to continue to get that from Ashton.
All right, 38-3, the halftime score. When we come back on the Chris Thompson Show, we'll have the second half highlights and take a closer look at number 8, Edmund Gates. You're watching the Chris Thompson Show.
Welcome back to the Chris Thompson Show. Let's take a look at the second half. Daryl Richardson starts it off with a take with 45 yards. Coach, what do you think about Daryl starting off his season this year?
Well, Daryl, you know, this was the first time we've really broke out in the running game. I mean, that's our first explosive play of the season, and glad to see Daryl get loose. It was well blocked up front, and Daryl made a big play. Expect more of those in the future.
Well, and you continued to give him the rock here, and again, you want to let Daryl be his own guy, but man, when he looks so much like his older brother Bernard, it's hard not to make that comparison, isn't it?
Yeah, there's some similarities in their running style, and you know the biggest difference is Daryl is already over 200 pounds. It took Bernard 6 years just to get to 200 pounds. He was 175 pounds when he was Daryl's age, so a little bit different style runner, not quite as elusive, but a little bit stronger, more physical type player than Bernard.
10 carries for 84 yards and those 2 touchdowns, which you saw. And then on the next offensive series for ACU, Clark Harrell, a 10-yard touchdown pass to one of Kimberly's fellow track stars, Raymond Radway.
Yeah, Raymond had a couple of touchdowns in the game, and really excited about what he's potentially going to bring to our team. He's a deep threat. He's a guy that's kind of a long strider, so it takes him a little bit of time to get going, but once he gets his speed up and gets down the field, he's something to deal with.
And our final highlight, that's Raymond Radway again from the touchdown pass from Mitchell Gale. I guess his track speed really did help him, Coach.
Yeah, Raymond's showing off those good wheels right here, and Mitchell's showing off a big, strong arm. You know, there's a long throw down the field. Mitchell's got a great arm, and I expect to see more of that from those 2 guys.
All right, Coach, so a big 58-10 victory for your team over Fort Lewis College. And again, it is what it is. Any victory is a good victory. Clearly, Fort Lewis at this point in their program is not where your team is right now. But at the same time, you still have to go out and produce the victory. And your guys played well. We saw Zach Stewart, we saw Clark Harrell, we saw Mitchell Gale. Each had a touchdown pass. As you've now looked back at the film, give me a grade offensively and defensively for your team the other night.
Well, you know, I would say we're still in that D range, honestly. I mean, you know, last week after the Northwest Missouri game, Coach Johns gave the defense an F. I think we've progressed. I think we made some improvement, but it's still very early in the season. And if we don't improve in the areas that we need to step it up in, I mean, there's going to be some tougher games ahead. And I think our players understand that, though. The attitude's good. We've had a great week of practice, and looking forward to a big improvement in the Cotton Bowl.
Let me quickly ask you about the quarterback situation. Zach and Clark have played. You brought Mitchell in a game that you guys were leading comfortably. People saw that deep ball that he threw, and it was a thing of beauty. Where do you stand on the quarterback situation right now going into tonight's game? Well,
we're going to go with Zach tonight, and you know, and just really feel that out. We don't really have a set rotation. I think you'll see Mitchell some. He's really had a couple of good weeks of practice, and he's, you know, his arm strength is clearly really good. And so at some point in the game, you may see Mitchell and you may see Clark. You know, it's really really to be determined as we go throughout the game. But Zach will start. We're really not setting a rotation like we have the last couple of weeks. Zach's going to take it, and we'll see how it goes from there.
And Kimberly, I know whoever's the quarterback, they're going to have a big target there in number 8.
That's right, because Edmund Gates is one of the key players on that offense, and he is the subject of this week's On the Grid.
Edmund is a very dynamic player. He brings a lot to the game with his passion, his speed, everything he plays the game. Usually when he touches the ball, there's a chance for big plays. Big plays always excite the team and bring on a real chemistry that not too many other players bring.
Well, at first it wasn't that fun because I wasn't getting in that much, but as I started playing, it started getting fun. And then we started having meetings about how to develop as a man, and it kind of caught my attention because I never had anyone to tell me about those things. So I felt like even if I wasn't going to play or if I wasn't going to get in the game, I still could be around and just learn about manhood with the coaches because it's a great experience for me.
Edmund came to us and he hadn't played football for a while, so it was really interesting getting him started 2 years ago. Now as he progresses, he's learning how to be a real receiver and not just a fast guy. He works hard at becoming a receiver and does a really good job just knowing what to do and doing his assignment.
I would say it's fun. It's different. The Christian environment is different, but it's just total focus, trouble-free. That's the biggest thing. It's just so fun, and people actually care out here, and they really love football. It's just fun to me.
Well, Coach Edmund Gates obviously is a gifted player, and there are things he has that you can't teach. And he really came to the ACU program in an unusual way. You saw him in the weight room one day, you told me, and the next thing you know, he says he wants to play football.
Yeah, he's actually from Vernon, Texas, where Bernard and Ashton are from, and Daryl. So I knew about him, knew who he was, but he only played 1 year of high school football as a sophomore. He played on the JV team, but he didn't even really get to play. He sat the bench and was more of a basketball player in high school and really grew. He was 5'8" his senior year in high school, and went to Tyler Junior College, and within a 2-year span grew to about 6'1". And is one of the fastest players we've ever had here in the program's history. So, he's developing. He's still learning what he's doing at the position. He's only really played it a couple of years, but he's done some great things.
And when we come back, we'll take a break from football and take a look at ACU women's volleyball. Welcome back to the Chris Thompson Show. The ACU women's volleyball team starts the 2009 season out on a hot streak with a perfect 4-0 home record after sweeping the ACU Volleyball Classic last weekend. Tanner Knaut takes a look at the 2009 ACU women's volleyball team.
The girls did well. They went out 4-0. We started out against Western State, which is a big contender in the RMAC conference, and they played well. We beat them in 4. But then we went up against Pitt State, and Pitt State is number 17 in the nation as of last week. And so it was really good to take that match. It was a team that we lost to last season, and the revenge was wonderful.
We're just so pumped right now. We actually played to our potential and gave us a point that we can grow on now. So it really helped us out because we were a little down. We had really close matches against some really, really good teams that we were disappointed in our first weekend. And so coming out here, being at home, having our friends and family here, and coming out with the big victories, especially against Pitt State, who was 17th in the nation. I don't know what they are now, but just having those victories did a world of good for us.
We have to take last weekend for what it was. It was 4 victories. It was awesome, but we can't think that that's going to be good enough to carry us through the rest of the season. We have to keep getting better, keep working harder, and keep pushing for wins.
We're expecting to take conference and go to regionals. Those are our biggest goals right now, but we've been saying since last year, whenever we lost in conference by 4 points, that this was the year that we were taking conference back.
Next week, though, we start against WT. That's our first game in conference, and it's our biggest rival in our conference. They're doing really well this season so far. They've got their senior loading team, and a win against them this early in the year would be huge for us. So we've got a tough schedule ahead of us in the next couple of weeks.
Good luck to Coach Mock and the ACU women's volleyball team. Volleyball's big in the Thompson household, isn't it?
Yeah, my wife Leanne is the head volleyball coach at Wiley High School here in Abilene, and they've gotten off to a really good start. We're expecting a state championship this year.
Okay, you heard
a little pressure on her there.
Yeah, you heard it here first on the Chris Thompson Show. Maybe Leanne will get her own coaching show here before too
exactly.
long. Let's talk about this week's game preview. Texas A&M Commerce. It's the longest running rivalry that ACU has with any other team. And Coach, it is, however, the first go-round in this rivalry for Guy Morris.
Yeah, Guy Morris, Kentucky head coach, formerly Baylor head coach, and just a fantastic coach and a great coaching staff. And you can already see the print that they're putting on that program. There's some great athletes there, and they're well coached, and we're looking forward to a tough game.
At 0-2 record, one of those games against a Division I opponent in southeastern Louisiana.
Coach, what challenges do you anticipate Commerce will throw at you guys, and what specifically does ACU want to accomplish with this game?
Well, the defense for A&M Commerce really stands out. They've got the North preseason Defensive Player of the Year in Willie Green, an inside player. Plays nose guard most of the time for him. Just a really explosive guy who can really disrupt your offensive timing. Their whole front seven is really strong, and their secondary is good. So their defense will give us some problems. Offensively, they're a little bit like us. They're kind of trying to find their way. A couple of different quarterbacks playing, and they haven't been real productive so far on the offensive side. So, two teams that are in the same boat, similar situations. We obviously want to win the game, but we want to make a big step. We want to improve a lot in all three phases. So, big night for our team.
And Coach, it's not just the opponent. I know for the fans in this game tonight, it's the location. For the first time ever, ACU takes the field at the Cotton Bowl. I know you've been game planning Commerce, but you have to allow yourself a little moment there at some point tonight during the game, don't you, to realize where you are?
Yeah, for sure. And we've played a couple of games in the Metroplex and had great crowds because we have such a great alumni base in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. But tonight will be much more special in the Cotton Bowl. And obviously knowing that we'll get a lot of people out. I think more people from ACU will come just because it's the Cotton Bowl. And so it's going to be a special night. We're excited.
Scott Stewart takes a look at all the history the Cotton Bowl has to offer.
Today, the ACU Wildcat football team will battle the Texas A&M Commerce Lions in the first conference game of the season. The game will be part of the second annual Harvey Martin Classic and will take place in the historic Cotton Bowl.
And just the Cotton Bowl, when you think about the Cotton Bowl in general, it's a historical site. Been many games played there, big games back in time, Texas OUs, and just go back, big time Dallas Cowboys Stadium back in the day, home stadium. Really just playing in the Cotton Bowl with me being from Dallas, it's a dream. And I always dreamed about playing in the Cotton Bowl, just seeing all the big teams play there and the crowds and just the stadium itself. And I stay not too far from it, so I used to see it a lot, and it's just finally my dreams coming to a reality.
Texas A&M Commerce hosts the game to honor former East Texas State Lion and Dallas Cowboys defensive lineman Harvey Martin. In 2007, Martin was selected to the 75th anniversary Lone Star Conference football team and was named LSC Defensive Player of the Decade for the 1970s. In 1973, Martin was selected by the Dallas Cowboys in the third round of the NFL Draft. Martin was a four-time Pro Bowler for the Cowboys and was named the NFL Defensive Player of the Year in 1977. Martin's biggest game came in 1978 when he and Randy White were named co-MVPs of Super Bowl XII. Texas A&M Commerce defeated East Central 27-15 last season in the inaugural Harvey Martin Classic. Texas A&M Commerce is undefeated when they play in the Cotton Bowl with a record of 7-0. ACU, on the other hand, will be playing for the first time in the historic stadium.
I really feel very excited, growing up in DeSoto, Texas or whatever. And, I got scouted by OU and I got a chance to actually go watch UT and OU play there. So, I always dreamed of actually playing there if I ever played there. So, now getting a chance and getting blessed to play in that stadium, is a very good, exciting, and just, revved up, pumped thing to do. So, I'm ready.
The Cotton Bowl opened in 1932 as a 46,000-seat venue located within Fair Park in Dallas, Texas. The Cotton Bowl has been home to 5 professional and college football or soccer teams, including the Dallas Cowboys and the SMU Mustangs. Also known as the House of Doak build after former SMU star Doak Walker, the Cotton Bowl has been host to several notable concerts, including Elvis Presley. What the Cotton Bowl is best known for, though, is playing host to the Red River rivalry between the University of Texas and the University of Oklahoma. The game is played at the Cotton Bowl during the State Fair of Texas. Ticket sales are equally divided between the two schools, and the fans are split on the 50-yard line. This is known as one of the biggest rivalries in all of college sports. Reporting for the Chris Thompson Show, I'm Scott Stewart.
Thanks, Scott. So much history at the Cotton Bowl, and ACU has a chance to begin writing its own history at that hallowed stadium tonight against Texas A&M Commerce. We're coming back to wrap up the Chris Thompson Show with some final thoughts from the coach right after this.
Final moments with the coach. Coach, any final thoughts on the game tonight against Commerce?
Well, just the big key tonight is we've got to get our drop back passing game going, which means you got to protect the receivers, quarterbacks, running backs all have to be on the same page against a really good defense. If we do that, I think tonight will be a good night for us. And we just want to take another step, get a win and take a step and improve as a team.
Lone Star Conference opener. Let's talk injury updates. Tony Harp and Justin Johnson played in the first game, did not play in the second, and Emery Dudensing is yet to play this season. Tell me about each of those three guys.
Tony will be fine, which will be good. We need him back there in that secondary making those calls, and then Justin Johnson's going to be fine. Both those guys will be ready to go. Emery will be a little bit more of a game-time decision. He's practiced some this week. He's still having some pain in that leg. The broken bone is healed, but it's not, he still doesn't have enough confidence in it probably, but we'll see. He may be limited action tonight.
And a nice luxury to have a guy like Justin Andrews back there to take his place.
No doubt. That's, where the depth of your team really helps hold things together. And now Justin's got a lot of experience. When Emery does come back, hopefully those two guys can kind of share the load.
Should be a lot of fun tonight. ASU's first ever trip to the Cotton Bowl. The game begins at 5 o'clock tonight. You can listen to the game here in the Big Country on Classic Country 1470 and around the world on ASUsports.com. For Kimberly Prather and for Coach Chris Thompson, I'm Grant Boone. Thanks for watching the Chris Thompson Show. We'll see you next Saturday at noon.